Hi, Shalom, Chag Sameach. Coming to you live from the Or Zarua Sukkah. Beautiful Sukkah this year, created by a crew of our congregants. And we're living with less and finding joy still. Here are the only two decorations in the entire Sukkah. The American flag, the Israeli flag together. And of course, what really makes the Sukkah glorious is when we get to spend a little time in it together. So we'll have to do it this way. Right now, I've brought my Lulav and etrog to the Sukkah. And so you see, beautiful etrog this year, a little bumpy. Looks like the tower on top with the pitom intact. There's my stem, the oketz. I hold the oketz up, the stem up when I do my blessing. And here my Lulav, the Arba Minim, these three species together. You see that dark green line is the spine of the Lulav. And when I wave it, here I'll put it your direction, the myrtle goes on the right and the willow goes on the left. And the myrtle's a little bit higher than the willow. And these branches are going to wither away by the end of the week, the willow branches. And the willow branches remind us of the fragility of life. But the myrtle branches, of which there's 3 versus 2 of the willow, they will be green and keep their form and shape practically all year. After Sukkot, I use them as a decoration somewhere holy, either in a space where I learn or near our dining room table where we make Yantiv meals or Shabbat meals. And we, by the way, keep the Lulav around and let it dry out and burn it with our chametz at Pesach to connect to the idea that Sukkot is, of course, one of the 3 regalim, the 3 Hagim that come throughout the year. It's part of that cycle as much as it's part of the Tishrei holiday cycle, which happens Rosh Hashanah, Yom Kippur, and Sukkot. So these 4 species cause quite a stir if you wind up carrying them down the street. And I'm always open to people asking me about them. And I was saying earlier this morning at Minyan that usually I get some reactions like, oh, can I shake those? I haven't taken the Lulav yet. And so, of course, we, in times that it's right, we're even out on the street as Or Zarua to do some sharing like that. But with clean hands and pure hearts, people have taken the Lulav and shaken them during this pandemical time. They're looking for a Lulav. But also, some people have the reaction like, that seems a little pagan to me. Or the other one I got this year was, doesn't that seem like you're trying to mimic other spiritual systems, like Native American rituals with using plants that I guess this person had seen? But the reality is that these traditions are thousands of years old for the Jewish people. And we take these species in our hands, and we had ancestors who marched around the temple in Jerusalem with them. And I think they were a personal reminder of the great adornment of the temple in the sanctuary temple, and especially the altar, the central altar that was decorated with the willow twigs as they made circles and even blew the shofar for the Sukkot celebration and just shared in the joy of that time in the temple in Jerusalem. And so as people did that, of course, they were also symbolizing our reliance on God for water. This holiday is all about water as much as it is about the plants themselves. And when we carry these, we remind ourselves that some plants need more water, some plants need less. A metaphor for sometimes our needing, more rushing water in our lives and sometimes calmer waters. And those times of simcha and joy and those kinds of steady, even tides. And when we take these plants, we remind ourselves of God's provision of water, the fact that the world only grows because God put creation into motion. We take the etrog in our left hand with the stem up for our blessing, and the Lulav in our right hand with the spine of the Lulav facing us, and the myrtle on the right of that spine, and the willow on the left, and hold them a little apart for the blessing. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, Asher Kiddishanu b'mitzvotav v'tzivanu al nitilat lulav. And if it's your first time taking the lulav in a season, and you could bless with me, Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, shehecheyanu v'kiyamanu v'higianu lazman hazeh. Then I take and I turn my pitom up and I put the four species together, holding it with both hands, and I shake east, south, west, north, up, and down. And we feel the joy of being connected to the broader world around us, the world of stones and plants and animals and people, and we hope for a world that will receive enough mayim, enough water in all the right places at all the right times, and that everybody should receive the nourishment that he or she needs for a truly holy and even joyful year. Chag Sameach, Moadim L'Simcha.